Hi guys, Ruben, CreasXgfi. We are now at week 14. Today's topic will be ADUs and JADUs, also known as JADUs. With this being said, I'll introduce myself, Ruben Allende, Creas.
Hector Heredia.
Yvonne.
Ralphie.
Kirsten. Lex.
I already said my name, right? So
Your whole name too.
I know.
I
I threw Creas in there. Anyways, so last week, Ralphie Lex showed some properties. That was really cool. We are picking up on views. We're picking up on subscriptions. And of course, with that comes watch hours. So thank you everyone for supporting us. What I like to start off with is that there are two different types of ADUs. One is
Detached.
the unit is separated from the primary structure, and the next one is
Attached, where the unit is attached to the primary structure.
so according to California legislation, a JDU is officially designated as a separate dwelling unit of up to 500 square feet. You could, I think it's 500 and a minimum of 150 square feet
Right.
per JADU, and it must have its separate entrance distinct from the main home. An ADU in comparison can add up to 1,200 square feet max for the state of California. If it's detached, and 800 square feet if it's attached, not to exceed 50% of the actual dwelling. So the first thing you want to do is check with
The city to see if an ADU is even allowed.
then.
Get a quote from different contractors on how much it would cost you.
Thinking about financing, we can offer HELOCs, construction, hard money loans, DSCR, refi, and business loans.
You sounded like a commercial. So you obviously have to when you're doing this. The first thing they ask you is where do you start, right? And obviously the first thing you want to do is you want to talk to a contractor and an architect or engineer. What's the architect and engineer do? They pretty much design the layout, right? And then comes the contractor, the one where most of your money is going to go, because they have to be the ones to build the property, right? And once you do that, and you guys, let's say, sign on the dotted line, you want them to continue, then what's next is you obviously have to go to the department, or they go for you, to the Department of Water and Power and the Department of Building and Safety. So on average, an ADU costs between $120 to $160 per square foot, depending on the area. And on average, you're spending $6,000 for permits. Okay. But of course, there are different cities. California says build, because we want to be able to have a home for everyone. City says wait, and then they give their restrictions, right? And there's certain things that we have to abide. And then I'll just let before we get to the questions and answers. So there's certain type of material that has to be used. And one thing I know is that you cannot use single piece composites, laminates, or any interlocked metal sheeting. And the roof cannot be made of wooden shingles, okay? Because as you anything that's being built now, they don't want wooden shingles for the reason of fires. California likes to burn around summertime, right? So, and the windows must be double pane, and they must be labeled for building use. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, why double pane windows?
Maybe for sound, I have no clue, but they now want it that way. And it's also energy efficient. What happens when it's double pane? I mean, not so much the noise that's going on inside the house, right? Party all night, whatever, it's up to you. But if it gets really hot, it doesn't get as hot inside. And that's the thing that's what they're trying to do.
For the ventilation of the garages, yeah.
Makes
Okay,
sense, right?
makes sense.
So, yeah. But with that being said, we're gonna
Wait, I need to chime in.
Sure.
We forgot to explain that permits are issued within 4 to 6 months.
a completed project, right?
What do you mean?
From beginning
Oh,
to end
yeah.
to complete 4 to 6 months with permits. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just for the permits it would take 4 to 6 months.
No, imagine.
Okay. That's why I was like, wait, it seems like if you're actually building another unit, because that's how long it takes for permits in the building.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But certain
Makes
cities
sense now.
are taking longer because a lot of cities That's what they're doing right now. A lot of people are pulling out HELOCs. I know Norwalk, Compton, Southgate, Bellflower. I think Bellflower. They're all taking advantage of this. They're building the ADU. I think you talked about SB9.
9 and SB10, correct?
Right, and they allow to build on the SB9. I think up to two dwellings.
2 dwellings on each.
Not to exceed 4, and on the SB10, 10 doors, max 20, depending on the area. Right,
Yeah.
but that's a whole other podcast. With that being said, Alexis, I know you chimed in right now. So, do you want to start with the first question that we were asked?
Yeah, so this one's for Ralphie. It's, can ADUs be sold?
They cannot be sold if the property, it cannot be sold separately at all, just because.
You would have to sell both, right? Just because you would have to sell both. I mean, it's on the same parcel. Parcel is what identifies the property.
Basically, it just can't be sold, but it can only be used for additional income.
Right. And additional income would be renting, right? And
It gives you passive income and it makes your value go up too as well.
right. And one of the things I know that if you're going to rent the property, it would be wise to give it its own separate electrical meter or electrical panel, only because if they're renting it, I mean, for the most part, 95% of homeowners or lessors, they tend to pay the water bill, but not the electrical bill, right? And so if you don't want to have problems with that person renting, you might want to give it its own electrical panel. Unless it's a family member, then you can always just expand the current panel and make sure that you have enough wattage to support both properties.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you were to split the parcel?
You can under SB9 that allows you to split a parcel as long as that makes sense. But at that point, it would just be another SFR,
Okay.
right? And then each SFR can build an additional dwelling, right?
Right.
Because the ADU is an additional dwelling to what's already on the parcel. That's why
Okay.
it's called additional dwelling. But yeah, that's a good way of doing it too. Split it, build on it, and then give each one of them an ADU. My goodness, I mean,
Yeah.
you can do so much. So no, the answer is no, right, Ralphie?
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
yeah.
next question is for Kay. Can a junior ADU have its own bathroom?
For a junior ADU, they don't need a bathroom in it. A junior ADU must have cooking facilities though, like a kitchen. It needs a sink also, but it's not required to have a private bathroom. For an ADU, however, you need the private bathroom, the kitchen, the living area, and even an AC, like heating and cooling system. You need that in an ADU.
So how will you take a shower in the kitchen? For a
No,
junior
so-
ADU, I'm just kidding.
The water goes.
Yeah, you still have that.
Go outside with the water.
Things like us with the detachable.
Just wipe yourself down. Get your wiping, baby.
It's actually a good question.
SpongeBob.
So, for Lex Hex, if,
Yeah. So, Lex, question for you: can you have an ADU and HADU?
Yes, so the ADU law allows the construction of a detached statewide exemption ADU to be combined on the same lot with the junior ADU on an SFR zone.
cool. So you can have an ADU and a junior ADU.
But you can't have two ADUs.
But it depends on the zoning, correct? What the property is.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool. I mean, who doesn't want to do that, right? At that point, you almost have a triplex or
Yeah,
2.5 plex,
Yeah.
something plex. So, Yvonne, I am going to ask you a question, and this is for California, not Alaska. Can you build a 2-story ADU in California?
Yes, well, California state law does not require the local jurisdiction.
Are you? Bro, that's what happens when you read.
Start again. Well, the California state law does not require that local jurisdiction. I can't say that word.
Jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction.
I got you, man. It's called teamwork. Make the dream work, right?
Well, California state law does not require that local jurisdictions allow 2-story ADUs. Many cities do, including San Diego, Oceanside, Chula Vista, El Cajon, Encinitas.
So it's like
Escondido allows ADUs to be 2 stories.
San Diego, which sounded like San Gabriel, is a pretty big city. It's growing really, really, really big, quick. And I think they're allowing a lot of places now to build up. So if you want to keep your garage and build up on it, you can. But I think you have to, there's certain restrictions, obviously. For example, what if there's a power line, right?
Right.
And I think that they're saying that ADUs cannot exceed a 16-foot height.
Mhm.
So if your garage is roughly 10 feet,
It wouldn't make sense.
well, it could be a tiny home on top of a garage or something like that, right? Something like that.
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
tree house on
Yeah.
top.
They do have certain restrictions when you're building an ADU, or like, I mean, for example, the living room has to be 70 square feet. The kitchen and the hallway and the closet have to be 50 square feet, and the bathroom has to be 30 square feet on a minimum, with the toilet, sink, and the shower stall. So if you don't fit that criteria, you're going to get a lot of negating on your permits, because it's not going to pass. So,
Right.
but sorry, that was just me chiming in. So next question.
Next question is for Hector. Can an ADU in California have a garage?
So a garage ADU makes use of an attached or detached garage by converting the space into a residence, right? Other options involve adding a second-story ADU, like Ruben was talking about, above a garage or building a new structure for both people and cars.
Okay, can we have parties there? No. Okay, no. So the material that can be used, I mentioned earlier, there's certain material that has to be used when building the ADU, and again, I mentioned it cannot be wood roofs. It has to be single piece composites, laminates, and interlock metal sheeting. Windows must be double pane and labeled for building use. And I would suggest, if you're going to rent it out, get your separate separate electrical panels and meters, so that you can tell who's using what, right? Because go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No.
I
we
wanted
heard
to
it. We can
elab-
hear it.
I was just going to elaborate in regards to financing. You know, the HELOCs, it take 5 days and you can get a finance really easy. There's really no income documentation required. There is a process, but it doesn't take more than like a week.
Okay. The HELOC's taking out 5 days, right? And the client
Yes.
gets to pick and choose their rate and term, which is good. And if you want a no question asked loan, no taxes, no nothing, but it does have to be an investment home,
Or it can be primary as well.
a business related
Mhm.
on the primary, and or second.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be business related. Once it's an investment, it doesn't have to be business related. It just has to be a second. And I like that.
Especially if you don't want to touch your low interest rate on your first. It's a fast way to get cash out.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, anyway, so I think we're just about done. Does anybody here have any questions for anything? No? Nothing? Wow.
Can you put a tiny home instead of an ADU?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Let's split the lot and try it. I don't know. Depends on. I would do that and find out if you can. You know what? I just want to have a little bit of fun, and I don't know, because my phone keeps going off, and I just hate that. Right? I just want to throw my phone away sometimes. But I want to have a little bit of fun here, and I want to ask. Is it Yvonne? Should we ask Yvonne? Yeah, Yvonne. Can you give us a tongue twister? What is it?
That's pretty
No,
difficult because
I'm just
I
kidding.
get tongue twist myself.
No, I'm just messing with you. No, the past week, seriously, like realistically, the past week, what have you guys experienced that has been happening a lot? And I'll start with, my goodness, all these foreclosures, right? And I know it's off topic, but damn, it's like the bank set us up, man. They set everybody up, and for us, it's like banks are closing their doors, right? Or like, oh, we're not approved there anymore. Oh, I jump ship. I went somewhere else. Underwriters looking for jobs and all this stuff, and then I see all these foreclosure filings, which is unfortunate, but that's where it's at. 2005 all over again for me. I think I'm the only one who experienced that, and it's crazy, but we're ready. What have you experienced? Any of you guys want to chime in?
A lot of people have been getting ADUs or been trying to build ADUs. When I was at the Compton City Hall,
right,
I believe 4 or 5 people had went in for blueprints.
Jeez.
Yeah.
A lot of people are.
And that was just that 1 hour you were
Just
there?
that 1 hour I was there, yeah.
Imagine that. 10 hours or 5 hours or 8 hours. That's rough for you
A lot of people want to do HELOCs now with the interest rates going up.
to not touch their first, leave it at a 4 or 3, whatever they're at.
Kind of just everything you touched on. I've been seeing a little bit of everything.
NODs and stuff like that. Lex?
NODs.
This is just like so not super separate from this topic, but like homelessness is just
it's
Every
it's
city.
And that's the
pretty
reason why they're allowing the ADUs and the additional dwellings, because so people can rent their properties to the homeless or Section 8.
Section-
Well, you do have a lot of homeless people
Mixed.
coming from other states to California because California facilitates. You still get your check. You have a PO box. I'll send you your check there. And I think UPS gives you addresses. USPS gives you PO boxes, right? And so people move over here, and it's still expensive. If you ask me, I mean, other states need to either, do what California's doing and help them out so that they're not homeless, because you can afford more of a house out there than you can out here with the checks that they're getting. A lot of these homeless people are veterans that unfortunately suffer from, PTSD, and then they go to drugs to kind of disconnect from that. And, you talk to some of these individuals, even though they're homeless, they're still human, guys. And when I talk to some of them, because I've been able to talk to a couple of them, they're really, really nice. And they're really, like, you can tell they've been through it and they want to make a change. But with cost and everything, yeah, it's getting really hard. But California does allow to give, they get their checks. What are the checks? Are they like...
Stimulus?
Not the stimulus. No, the welfare checks.
Yeah,
Cash aid, and general relief and stuff like that. But damn, imagine stimulus every month. That's a whole other thing. But guess what? If you want more stimulus checks, it's going to be tacked onto your registration fee, or property taxes might be going up. There's all kinds of crazy things. But that's smart talk for another podcast.
Yeah. And then also now I've noticed that sellers are willing to help with closing cost. And if the rate is a little high, they also help them with buying down the rates. So you can still buy and have a lower rate while the market adjusts. Now, competition is not as competitive as it was a few months ago, and the holidays are coming. So if you were in the market to buy, you should give us a call.
That's right. Okay, I think we wrapped it up. We're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
She sells seashells by the shell. No, short. She sells seashell, whatever, man. I got myself on that one. So, Peter Piper Pickle Picker,
Pickled peppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do it. I can't do it. So, anyway, so
Para timpenicuaro. The Spanish one?
well, she just went Spanish on us. What? Well, that you want to say, estás llamando CreasXgfi or GFI, whatever it's called. Anyways,
You sound like
la radio. ¿Cómo estás? Son Pepe Barreto.
107.5.
107.5, Pepe Barreto. No. Anyways, with that being said, I'm having fun here. You understood, huh, Kay? So, like, yeah, whatever. Hey, thanks, guys, for chiming in and listening to us. I know sometimes we can be silly, sometimes spontaneous, and Alexis here laughing at me, thinking like that. Get your out of your head, whatever. But we enjoy doing this for you guys, being educational. We can be silly. I think that the next podcast, one of you guys has to make it fun, man. Come on, you guys are funny outside of the podcast and silly when you guys want to be. And I think we should do. What do you guys think about video?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, we're
on
going to
the
do the
next one.
Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, Hollywood.
Yeah.
The Halloween costumes.
So that's awesome. CreasXgfi, Ruben, I'm out.
Hector's out.
Yvonne is out.
Ralph out.
K out.
Lex out.
Peace, guys. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.